Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. I'm Shades here.
I'm Joshua.
I'm Eric.
I'm Michael.
So in Miyazaki's early life, he was born in January 5th, 1941, which is during World War II. His father was a director of Miyazaki Airplane, which is a parts manufacturer for airplanes, and he helped develop the Mitsubishi Zero fighter plane. And Miyazaki in his early life had to constantly evacuate due to fire boom raids as well as attacks from other nations. So because of this, the war and his father has left a large impact on his life as well as his art and animation style.
And another important part of his life was that his mother was actually bedridden with tuberculosis for 8 years in his childhood. So she'll often appear in his films later on.
Now, at first, Miyazaki worked for an animation studio called Toei Animation. Now, he started working there in 1963. In 1963, there was a big labor dispute, and he got involved in it. So in 1964, 1 year in, and he's already the secretary of the labor union. Now, that's impressive in a case, I would say. Now, he was the chief animator of Horus, basically Prince of the Sun, where he worked with Yasuo Otsuka, which was his, I would say his mentor, in a sense. But in addition to that, he also met, and this is cool, he met his, Isao Takahata. I'm sorry, I'm not a Japanese person, so I can't pronounce his name very well, but Isao Takahata, which was actually one of his lifelong collaborators. He founded Ghibli Studios later on with him, and of course. So, one of his more important films was actually Prince of Horus, because that actually set the tune at the studio, basically set the theme for later, I would say, Japanese animated films in general, because we all know that Japanese animated films have a sense of violence to it, like an overt explicit violence, right? Well, that film actually introduced and pioneered this kind of violence in terms of film. It was more adult animation rather than kid animation. And finally, he also did some very key animations for Flying Phantom Ship and The Wonderful World of Puss before leaving in 1971. In Flying Phantom Ship, actually, there was a vein of, I would say, pacifism in it, because the images he contributed were images of wartime military tanks in Tokyo, which I'm pretty sure he had the experience of.
And we have that clip to show you now. So as you can see in this clip, there's a lot of violence, a lot of destruction going on from modern technology, which stemmed from Miyazaki living during World War II as a child and constantly having to deal with bombardment of fire brigades and bombs and military action. And this left an impact on him for anti-war sentiments in all of his films. In many films, his protagonists are pacifists, and he shows technology destroying humanity, and that's a recurring theme in his films, I guess you could say. But more on that later. So, before he started Ghibli Studio, he started working freelancing with a bunch of studios. Really, he started first with after he left, Toei Animation, he went to A-Pro and then went to Telecom Animation Films. He first co-directed Lupin Part 3 at A-Pro, and that was a 22-part episode series where he had more freedom to do what he wanted. And then he went on to direct Lupin III: The Castle of Castrigo, and that was his first full feature length film that he could do whatever he wanted with. He had full control of it. He could do the animations. He could hire the people that he wanted to. And as you can see, going from doing small scenes in a few films and series to directing your own film within like 10 years. His experience and like his animation style, a lot of people liked it, and that's why he could do directing Lupin 3 and also Panda Go Panda and How They Grew of the Alps. And also, again, he worked with Isa Takada, and he did that with many films after working with him initially. They grew very close together as they found Ghibli Studios. And in 1984, he directed Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which many claim to be his pivotal work. You can really see him like, you can really see his art style in that. And again, it has the themes of like anti-war and nature being destroyed by technology and stuff. And we have the trailer for Lupin 3, the classic trio. And then this is the castle, not the castle,
に覆われ巨大生物オウムが支配する滅亡寸前の未来世界。清らかな風の吹く風の谷に心優しい少女ナウシカがいた。人類は残り少ない資源を争って戦い合い、そのためにオウムの力を利用しようとしていた。